A full tour of my home as a queer autistic maximalist artist. The outside. Yes, it's pink on the inside and outside. I decided to paint the outside of my home pink in the summer of 2023. It was originally a pretty standard gray, which wasn't bad, but it just wasn't pink. It took me nearly 4 months of all-day weekends tactfully buying paint on random sales and unexpectedly spending 80% of my time on this back deck area, which I'll show a bit more later. It's done and I don't regret doing it, but my body still hurts from it 2 years later. And this is a little embarrassing to admit, but I still have one side left I didn't have time for, which hopefully I'll get to this summer. And I am planning to paint the front door a nice periwinkle blue at that time too. I know I said both these things last summer, but I mean it this time. Let's go inside. The entryway leads right to this split level design. The upper level has a living room, kitchen, bedrooms, and bathrooms, while the lower level has the garage, laundry room, and office. Walking up the stairs, you go right into the main kitchen, dining, living room space. This was the first area I decorated in my home and really set the tone for the rest of my house style, which I like to call pastel maximalist dollhouse. Chronologically, I painted the kitchen cabinets before moving in, then the whole room a year later in 2022, including the walls, trim, and fireplace. From there, I've done some smaller wave murals around miscellaneous objects, and largely have just been collecting and rearranging decor since. The star of the living room is definitely this couch I got from CB2 back in 2022, which I probably get asked about every day. It was very expensive for me, and I'm not sure if it was worth the price, but 3 years later, it's held up, and I love that it fits all 4 of us pretty comfortably, especially my dogs Choppy and Bean. Another mention is this coffee table setup with a cushion. It's mainly where I eat my meals, as sitting on a traditional chair is pretty hard for me. Just chronic pain things. Back on this shelf is where I display a lot of my thrifted goods, a couple of Lego pieces, some plants and other decor items. Fun fact, this is one of the first pieces of furniture I bought for my partner and I's first apartment 8 years ago. Then we have this old IKEA media center from our first apartment too, with some more decor, my pin collection, and the inside is one of my more manageable ADHD doom piles. Back to the front of the living room. Yes, this fireplace works. No, we haven't used it yet because fires scare me, so that's why there's so much decor still in front. This cabinet over here was originally a cheap fake wood cabinet I got in 2019, which I painted purple and replaced the handles. If you're sensing a theme here, it's that while my house looks pretty tidy on the outside, there's a lot of clutter hiding in nearly every closed space. Moving into the dining room, I'm pretty proud that both the dining table and this console table were secondhand items I found on Facebook Marketplace. The table was actually handmade and has 2 extendable pieces, and then of course I painted it pink and purple myself. We actually don't eat at the dining table at all, so it's fully dressed and decorative most of the time, but it's great for special events and board game nights. Back here we have my Muster-made cabinet, and I am proud to say I reorganized this earlier this year. On the console table we have more thrifted goods, a few items from small makers, and some more plants of course. And yes, Bean has multiple places to sleep here and over here. The back deck. This is honestly what really sold me and my partner on this home. It was originally all natural wood colors and gray, but I also painted it shades of pink and purple 2 summers ago. The dogs and I spend so much time out here, especially Bean as a professional roaster. We also have an inflatable hot tub perfect for my chronic joint pain, some adjustable loungers, and a small table we occasionally use in the summer. And probably the coolest feature is that the ceiling itself is retractable. Who knew you could use garage doors like that? I do plan to eventually paint a mural on the back of the house here, and the backyard is kind of a mess right now coming out of winter, and especially the trampoline, but we can still get some jumps in. Back inside to the kitchen. The theme is watermelon with the pink and green repainted cabinets, but I am hoping to redo these someday as the storage here is a little awkward, but I did reorganize our food pantry last month, which definitely has helped. My partner actually does all the cooking, so I don't spend much time in here outside of making coffee and doing the dishes, but I do get a lot of questions about the pink bespoke Samsung fridge, the weird skinny microwave, and my salt and pepper shaker collection, which is one of my greatest joys as a secondhand collector. Which brings me to at least what I think is probably one of the coolest things about my house, is that the bulk of my decor is secondhand. Even though I consider myself a maximalist, I really hate buying cheaply made products that are poorly made, exploit workers and creatives, and create even more waste, so it's my compromise. I get asked all the time where I shop from, and while I do have a few shops and makers I like, I mostly find things through Facebook Marketplace, thrift shops, and even make a lot of things myself. I know that's not a helpful answer, but if you're ever curious about a specific item, just ask in the comments and I'll let you know where and how I got it. Moving on to the upstairs rooms, the special interest room. For obvious reasons, this is my favorite room in the whole house. It proudly displays many of my special interest collections, Gen 1 Pokemon plushes, figures, and other merch, my mostly secondhand book collection, yes I have read every book here too, my very unhinged manga and graphic novel collection. I always get asked for a tour on these, but I am far too embarrassed to recommend 18 plus BL and GL when I have a lot of underage folks in my audience, so zoom in at your own risk. I also have a bit of Sanrio, Studio Ghibli, Animal Crossing, and other plushes from franchises I enjoy. Purple cabinet here and has all my art and paint supplies, freshly organized for your viewing, while this closet is another story. Lower cabinets are mostly full of random books and unfinished DIY projects as well, which we'll get to eventually. In general, I spend a lot of time in here relaxing and unwinding from the day with my partner and pups, which is why it's super important we have different light sources and a dimmable overhead light. Right across from this room is the guest bathroom. I just recently did a quick renovation here this past fall, removing an accent wood wall, painting it all, adding vinyl floor tiles, and covering up this ugly shower with a shower curtain. Yikes. Someday I hope to update this whole bathroom more permanently, but I don't have the funds or energy to do that at the moment. Moving down the hallway, we have my walk-in closet. The closets are few and quite small in this house, plus my clothing collection is large, so it made the most sense to repurpose this room as a closet. We installed and painted the IKEA closet system ourselves. This is actually a very old dresser I bought many years ago, painted pink, and this is originally the couch that was in my office. It's also home to my earring collection, which is really the only jeweler I can wear due to sensory issues, my bag collection, and a lot of shoes I've collected over the years. And I know this looks fairly tidy at the moment, but this room is usually a big mess by the end of the week, every week. It's also weirdly Bean's favorite room in the whole house, and he just hides out in here a lot. Directly across the hall is our bedroom. You'll notice it's a lot more tame color-wise in here because 1, we sleep in here and I like it to be more relaxing, but 2, it's also one of the last rooms I decorated and I was a bit lazy. But my partner uses the full closet in here, I have a seated area to do my makeup on the very rare occasion I do, and of course we have a TV for watching movies in bed. I also have a locker back here with miscellaneous beauty supplies that desperately needs to be reorganized. And yes, our dogs do have their own beds in here, but they also are always welcome on our bed, and somehow all 4 of us fit on this little queen bed. There is a connected bathroom in here as well. I did paint the walls pretty early on when we moved in, but didn't get around to doing much outside of that. Maybe later this year I'll have the energy to give this little lift like the other bathroom. It definitely could use a little help. Probably the most common question I get is if my home overwhelms me visually as an autistic person, and the answer is no. I'm actually quite sensory seeking when it comes to visuals and spend a lot of time looking at my collections, although you wouldn't see me putting bright neon colors or high contrast patterns anywhere in here. Light sensitivity is actually more of my issue. We hate the big light, so most of the high traffic rooms have dimmable lights installed, the living room, the spin room, the bedroom, even the office, and I have an assortment of smaller lights in each of these rooms that are ideal for later in the day when even dimmable lights are too bright. That's all for upstairs, so we're gonna go head down to the office. This was also a really big sell for us on the house because I work from home full time and my partner works part-time from home, so having a designated space is really ideal. We've done so much down here over the years. There used to be a massive built-in on the back wall, some very saggy carpet, and all gray walls and a fireplace. We still have the old living room couch down here, which I'd like to replace sometime, a lot of miscellaneous furniture I've painted over the years, and probably my favorite piece, this giant desk I work from, which is home to my double monitor setup and an army of trinkets. On the back wall is my Pop-Tart mural and line of IKEA cabinets, which holds all my shop products. And over here is my partner's desk and their more recent sports card and Pokemon card collection, as you can see here. There is in fact a bathroom down here, but I haven't touched it at all because it is very dark and scary and I can't be bothered to clean another bathroom, so we don't use this one at all. Also downstairs, we have the laundry room. I know, not the best location for my mobility issues, and I also haven't done any work in it. I'll eventually paint and update this room, but it's not super high priority, and we always get a good laugh out of these cheesy millennial signs literally glued onto our wall. The last area down here is the garage. Don't judge me, but this is kind of the dumping ground for all of our extra stuff, Christmas decor, stuff I need to sell, yard supplies, recycling, and other DIY projects. More recently, we turned this area into a small in-home gym, so it's still functional. My mom actually gave me some of her old gym equipment, my partner chose the rest, and I just do some light strength training down here 3 days a week to help build muscles around my joints for my hypermobility issues. And finally, that's all folks. I think I covered everything, but let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Bye friends.